All right, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Shannon O'Hagan, and I am the Assistant Director for International Recruitment at the University of Missouri, and I'm joined here by some of our wonderful international student ambassadors. And our international student ambassadors are current international students on our campus. We're here to be great resources to you. You can connect with if you have questions about what it's like to be a student on our campus. So this event today, we're just gonna have some questions for them. So you're welcome to type in questions that you might have. We also have some questions that came in advance that I'm gonna ask them. So we'll try to keep those pretty informal, but we're just gonna kind of go around and answer those questions as we go through. I did wanna let you know that this is our first event of the series, but we will have additional events coming up in the next couple weeks and months. So stay tuned for those as well. But to get things started off, we'll start off with some introductions. So we'll just go down the line here, and each person will introduce themselves and talk about what they're studying, where they're from, what their year is in school. So Jay, you want to start?
Okay. My name is Jae. I'm from Korea. I'm studying journalism, and I'm a junior.
Hi everyone, I'm Zina. I came from Egypt. This is my third year. I'm a junior. I study information technology.
Hello everyone, my name is Mustafa. I'm a freshman. I'm studying information technology and I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, my name is Maggie. I'm from China. I studied economics in first 2 years, then I transferred to marketing in business school. Now I also have an IT minor in engineering school.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for coming and spending some time with us tonight. What we're going to start off is talking about what it's like when you first come to Mizzou and kind of what that experience is when you are a new student on campus. So my first question for you guys is, what do you remember about your first few weeks as a student on campus?
Let's take it. Should I go first?
Sure.
Well, first few weeks, I had a lot of events that I went to with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in my freshman interest group, FIG, we call it. And so I was paired up with these people, new people, and I have same classes and we live in the same dorm and all that. So I have a bunch of friends where I don't know anyone here. So that was nice, like going around campus and downtown and all that. So it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember when I first came that Mizzou was too big. I used to get lost a lot. Like I'd be like, I was just here 10 minutes ago because it kind of looked like the buildings similar in some ways.
Sure, yeah.
So I would orient myself to Memorial Union or Student Center because like you can identify them.
Sure.
But I downloaded the app and Google Maps and tried to use that. But people were friendly to like just guide us through. I guess.
Yeah.
It was big, but I definitely got around that at some point. I love that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely remember my first few weeks. I definitely thought campus was big and I didn't know where everything was. I had to use my phone to look up a few buildings, or you could ask some people, they will tell you people are pretty nice here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't really know a lot of people here, but Mizzou, set up a lot of orientation events for freshmen and to help people settle in. So that helped me a lot to meet people and just get settled in.
The first day I arrived in Mizzou is my 18th birthday.
Oh.
So it's kind of like brand new life to me. And I tell myself I have to try so many things. And the Mizzou give me so many opportunities, like different organizations you can join to meet friends. And this is my first time to live with American. I was so excited and also a little bit afraid, but it turns out everything is so good. She gave me a lot of tips, and until now we are really good friends.
That's great. And so speaking of living on campus, when you're talking about first year interest groups, I guess what was that like living on campus as far as those types of experiences? Did they have ways to help you kind of navigate the system or meet other people? Were there resources to help you as you made that transition?
Well, for me, I loved my experience living on campus.
Mhm.
Well, I missed my home food and
Sure.
all that. And dining hall wasn't so great at first. Like,
Adjustments, not
to be
mom's cooking.
honest,
Yeah.
to be honest,
Yeah.
because I always had to eat hamburgers and stuff.
Sure.
So it was kind of an adjustment that I had
Uh-huh.
to make. But if I didn't live on campus in the dorms, I don't think I would have made a lot of friends.
Sure.
So I really liked it.
Thanks.
Do you guys want to, I can go or you guys
You can
wanna
go.
I was like, I don't know, I was being blind, but yeah. I like that how Mizzou set up before we come with a roommate. So my roommate has already been to Egypt before, and she was like into knowing new people, and but she was like really open-minded about certain stuff. So I like that we already chat and had our social media before we came. So it wasn't like, we live together now and we have to do it. I do think like on campus is easier to navigate around and to be more involved. If there's something going on Memorial or anywhere, you can just hop in and get in there.
Sure.
I think for a freshman year, especially coming from outside of the States, it was definitely helpful to get around more living on campus.
Yeah.
And also I learned a lot about privacy and giving people space and, kind of compromising because I had a roommate, we lived together.
Sure.
You have to kind of make these rules and try to stick to them as much as you can, which is a big part of college life because it's commitment and having fun, but
Sure.
commitment.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my experience as a freshman.
Great. And what about living off campus? Because I know that some of you have lived off campus as well. And so sometimes that's a question that I get asked of, well, when I live on campus, I know I'll be close to campus, but if I'm off campus, is it going to be really far away? How am I going to get there? What types of places are there? So can you talk about some of those options or experiences?
Yeah, so living off campus is, a little bit different than living in the dorms, but it's not scary or difficult or anything because, you still get to see the city. It's not too far from campus. It's like 5-10 minutes by car. They have shuttle buses every like 5-10 minutes to get to campus. And I would say it's not the same experience, but each place has its own things that could teach you, and I think both options are fun, and it's definitely something you should try if you don't want to live in the dorms.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about academics, because obviously that's an important part of the university experience, right? So what, I guess, would you say is like a typical day in in your life as a college student, or even a typical week? Did you want to start? Maybe go the reverse direction?
I can make an example of today. I have class at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Don't choose 8 o'clock.
I second that.
I have a class at 8 o'clock to 9:15, and today is kind of different because I have an interview with one company for my summer internship. So I go to the interview at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Then I come back, have a lunch. Then I have a class at 2 o'clock to 3:15. Then I have a group meeting doing the presentation. So it's from 3:30 to 5:30. Then I go to the gym for swimming. We have best swimming pool here. Then I have a dinner. Then come here, have the Facebook Live. This is my
Nice
day.
day.
Busy day, yeah.
I like that.
Anyone else want to highlight a kind of a typical day or even just typical week?
I'm a coffee person. There's a lot of good places you can get coffee for morning classes in Mizzou. So that's a big part of my day. Like Starbucks in Monroe Union is like a daily thing for me.
Sure.
So yeah, that's part of my day in Mizzou. I like coffee. So
Thanks. Cool. Great. And then I know sometimes when people transition from high school to university, especially if maybe they came from a system that had different style of courses, that can be, a transition and kind of learning how to experience the classroom and how to be successful in that environment. So do you have any tips for students in their first semester on campus as they're taking their classes on what to do to be successful and some of the things that you've learned along the way?
Well, definitely go speak to your professor. Like first thing.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think it was kind of a cool thing that students don't think as it is hard to speak up and ask for help when you're in trouble and go out to like ask questions to the professors. If you're like having trouble in class or like you don't get something or like maybe in an assignment you're having trouble, I went up to my professor and asked help, and it really made a lot of difference, I think.
Great.
So yeah, I could add more on that. If you're feeling stuck on a class or assignment, there's a lot of ways to get help. You can speak to your professor or students in the same class. We have tutor sessions for a lot of classes. I personally went to one of those tutor sessions when I was having troubles with my math class back in the first semester. And I would say that helped me a lot. And they're free and they're available to a lot of students. So there's definitely a lot of resources to help students with classes. If you're ever feeling stuck, there's a lot of people you can reach out to and get help from.
Yeah, like also going what he said, like making study groups. Like it's one thing to feel stuck, but if all of us are having trouble, we can like help each other out. And definitely tutoring and engineering were really, really, really great. So I second that there were awesome people to go there.
And to talk about different study styles. So have you found that there are different study environments across campus that you can find to kind of find your study spot? And do you have a favorite study spot on campus or off campus?
I would say my favorite study spot is Ellis. I like to go to Ellis a lot.
And could you explain what Ellis is?
Yeah, Ellis is a library at Mizzou. It's called Ellis Library. It's pretty big. We have many floors in it, and typically if I go to Ellis, I know I have to put my phone down to the side and just get to the task and get it done before I leave Ellis. And it's there's many floors. There's quiet floors you can't talk on. There's floors you can speak on for group projects and such. So I would say Ellis is my favorite spot to study at on campus.
Off campus, I like coffee shops. Like I said earlier, Lakota is one of the great ones, and I just feel like there's many places off campus and on campus that provide quiet place. Like I like quiet areas around me, like kind of shut everyone out. So it's nice and it's really close. Downtown is super close to campus, so you never feel like the need to take any transport. You can just walk there and be there and then come back whenever you want. So that's a great thing that I love about Mizzou.
And there are a lot of study rooms in the dorms. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know one of the other questions I get asked a lot about is by students being a little bit scared or intimidated by what they hear about freshman level courses in particular, where they're going to be in giant lecture halls and how that's going to be hard to learn in. And so I guess, do you have any thoughts on that, or maybe what that's really like, or how that works as a student, the experiences that you've had, and how to kind of manage that type of environment?
Do you want
Because I studied in the international high school, so it didn't have really big difference for me. So I think just go to the class and make friends. I made my best American friends in my business administration 1500s, and if I have question, I just ask her. And I think people here are so friendly to international students, and they can just help us. And you have big questions, just ask teacher assistants or professor. I think that's it.
Great.
Kind of like what she said, just go to the professor and TAs and speak ahead before everything goes like unfolded. So like you already have made this kind of connection that they know you now and they know what you're going through, so they can help more. But if you come at the end of the semester and like, oh, I'm stuck and there's like a lot of modules there, they really can't help that much. So speaking out, knowing that you're not the only one who might be feeling this way, could help, especially in big class, because it's too big to might get lost in. So I think it's one thing, like she said, just make these connections earlier.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what they said. Speaking to your professor, making a connection, a relationship with him definitely helps you. And then me personally, I came from a high school where my biggest class was around 22, 25 people. And then when I heard about the big lecture halls, 200 plus people, I was a little bit nervous, scared how to pay attention, how to stay on task and just follow what the professor is saying. And then when I actually got here, it turned out totally fine, because the whole, the professor teaches it in a way that engages the whole class. So it's kind of hard to zone out, and they're pretty fun and easy to pay attention to, in my opinion. So it's not a big difference.
Great, thank you all. One of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit was the Missouri method, which is something that we're known for at Mizzou, and that's learning by doing. And so I know that JE in particular, you have some examples of that, because that's something that really started with the School of Journalism, and so could you maybe explain what that really means and how that applies to how you study at Mizzou?
Well, you already said it. Learning by doing. So, in particular, journalism school, we designed the courses doing projects.
Mhm.
So we have, for me, PR and strategic communication. We bring in some clients and we like design all the projects and campaigns that we want to publish out. So that I think it's really different from other schools and other like international schools around because we actually get to learn what it's like out in the field before we actually go out
Sure.
and do things. So I think you get to be ready of what you want to do and what you are going to do.
Great. Thanks. One other aspect I wanted to kind of touch on was, Maggie, you mentioned that you had an interview earlier today. And so I wondered if you could talk about some of the resources available for students to connect with potential employers in that way, whether that be through job fairs or through interviews or kind of making those connections with industry.
I think there's 3 ways to have the opportunities of interview or internship. Firstly is career service. I just went to business career service, and they just have there are so many companies come to our school, and you can give their resume and said, what's your name and what's your major and you are interested about company, and you can apply online. If you're there, feel you're so good and we want to come back and you can have an interview. And secondly is a career service center just next to the Alice libraries. You can get help with. And also the last way is to find your professor. Some professor will invite some companies or recruiter to our school and to the lecture, and we can get in touch. And they feel like, oh, you are good students. We want to know more about you. That's the way to find a job.
Yeah, we have that coming up too.
Could you say that again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, we have so like what she talked about, we have a career fair for the information technology department coming up. And they're actually canceling classes for that whole day so you can attend.
Yes.
Which shows you that they really care and want to give students a chance to speak with some actual, work job chances that's going to be coming to them in the near future.
Yeah, like professors in classes were talking about it for a while.
Yeah, they definitely advertise it a lot to help students.
Great. Yeah, awesome. So we talked about academics, but what do you guys do when you're not in class? What are some of the fun things you like to do on campus or in the community?
I am the vice president of Mizzou Feminist Student Union, and we do a lot of events to advocate equality and involvement for women and students in general on campus. And we do movie nights or raise donations for some causes like other stuff. So I like that part of my life that I feel like I'm giving back to the community, not just going to classes, going back. So that's been a big part of it. Also, I'm part of MISC. We're both part of MISC.
Okay, could you explain what MIC is?
MISC stands for Missouri International Student Council, and we do a lot of events to try to get international students involved and globalize Mizzou campus in general. We want to be we exist, and we all these events is for domestic and internationals, but our aim is to make all internationals feel more involved in Mizzou. And Jay could speak more about that too. In there as well.
Well, you explained everything. I don't really have much to say, but we speak for ourselves. Yeah, we advocate the marginalized voices on campus, so they can get more involved and they can feel more attached to where they are right now. And yeah, we have a lot of fun events going on. We have our own YouTube channel.
Yes, subscribe.
Any other student organizations or just things you like to do outside of class?
For me, we have the Mizzou Rec Center is something special. We have a lot of weight rooms, basketball. You can play basketball, tennis. You can swim. There's a very big pool, and it's great. We have volleyball sand pits, we have soccer fields, football fields. So there's a lot to do if you like, working out or physical activity. And then we have a lot of events that Greek life houses organized for like good causes such as charities, hospitals. Like last Saturday was Mizzou Fight Night, where you fight in the octagon just like the UFC for helping good causes for like the Women's and Children's Hospital, and those events are pretty fun to attend.
I have 2 part-time job in the school. One is student ambassador. The other, I work in the Alice Library. So the place is called copy service. I print poster, resume, and sometimes exam paper for people. I think it's pretty cool. And sometimes I can do the homework while I was working.
Let's be part of it.
But you get paid.
Yeah.
I think sometimes some students feel like a little bit intimidated of like how to navigate all of those things, or when you come to a relatively large university. So how did you find those student organizations, or how did you make contacts, or how did you find that job? Was it hard to know where to go to kind of make connections?
I think when you get one connection paved, then you get a lot from there.
Sure.
That was my case at least.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Kind of builds.
Yeah, it builds.
I agree. And there's also arcs thing where I just sometimes look up, like I love Harry Potter, so I wanted to look for some Harry Potter clubs. They have the Quidditch one, it's not super active, but like kind of going on from there, you can like look it up online, and like she said, an org saying yes, or like she said, one connection led to the others. I think it's more about reaching out.
Yeah.
And the more you reach out, the more you might find something that suits you or you like to be involved in. Or I don't know, that's the way it was for me.
Do you want to go?
You
Like every semester, I have my own objectives to achieve. So I will list down everything I want to do. Then I will match the stuff. Like the first semester, I'm having the theater class. So I went to see the theater in the Mizzou campus. They have very good shows around. And the second semester, I decided to have the chess club and also to learn piano. They have piano class and the chess clubs in the campus. And the third year, I decided to have my own job because I want to have some little money for myself. So I go to the library, tell them I want a part-time job, and they give me applications. I fill up the applications, they give me the feedback and want me to interview, then I got a job. I think everything is pretty easy in Mizzou. You just search online, put the stuff you want to do, and just Google it, and you can find everything here.
And to get more involved, I think it's very smart way to utilize Mizzou OrgSync because most of the organizations are registered, registered
They are
on
building.
on OrgSync website. So yeah.
Great. One other thing I wanted to know is kind of on the fun side of things, like what's your favorite Mizzou tradition or event that happens on campus, or what's something that you enjoy doing that is a little bit special to Mizzou?
Tiger Walk.
No.
Do you want to explain what that is?
So we have 2 traditions, right? Like running towards the
Oh, yeah.
Justice Hall, and when you graduate, running outside of the campus, right?
It's the opposite way. One
Oh,
way
really?
is this, and
Oh,
one
really?
is the opposite
Okay.
way. I don't know, but you're right.
Yeah.
And then ice cream after that.
Yes.
Ice cream.
Loves ice cream. Yeah.
That's the best.
So it's tradition when you come where you run across one direction when you're coming to Mizzou, and
Right.
then when you graduate, you get to go the other direction. And it's a celebration in
Yes.
both instances of kind of a welcome to Mizzou and then also a sending off to,
Yes.
to the
Getting there
next step.
year.
Yes.
Hopefully.
That's
I like watching late movie nights at Memorial Union. It's free and it's good movies. It's up-to-date movies, and it's good way to hang out with friends. And you have like a stressful week, you can just go watch some movies at Memorial. And I love Memorial Union as well, so it's one of my favorite Mizzou things to do.
I definitely agree with what they said. The movie nights were pretty fun. Tiger Walk is actually pretty interesting, and you get ice cream after. And one interesting, or event that's special to Mizzou, I would say homecoming that was actually created or started by Mizzou. Yeah.
Blast, yeah. Oh, wow.
So this past semester, it was just great to see the atmosphere, the football team go out there and play. So many people, so many alumni, students just get together for, just watching the football game, just great atmosphere. And I think it's pretty special and pretty fun to attend.
Yeah, and for those who aren't familiar, that's exactly that. When homecoming is when it's a time designated each year for people to come back to campus, to come home, and there's a lot of events surrounding that, like a parade and also
Right,
a big
there's a
American
parade.
football game. So yeah.
I think international welcome party is my favorite.
Yes.
I met a lot of great people in there, and the reason I got this job is because I met Danny and who works here before. She said, "Oh, Maggie, you enjoy so many activities in the school, so you're probably interested in this job." And I got an interview and I got this job. I think it's very good.
Yeah, I love international welcome party. It's amazing. We all get to kind of represent. We have booths like food and games. It happens basically at the beginning of the
Student-
semester. Yeah, at student center.
And I show different cultures of
Yes.
different countries.
Different food, different games, events.
Yeah, great events. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on was Columbia, Missouri, because oftentimes when I travel all over, I carry a map with me because, people aren't always familiar with Missouri, let alone where Columbia, Missouri is. Even though, fun fact, we just last week was listed as number 6 on livability.com for the top 100 cities to live in the U.S. So
Oh,
we're getting
well,
some
number
love. Yeah. Well,
That's
pretty neat.
amazing.
Yeah, very neat.
Proud of you being here.
I know. So we're very excited about that. However, it's not always on people's radar as far as knowing much about Columbia. So I guess if you guys could share a little bit about Columbia, something that surprised you moving here for those of you who weren't familiar with it before, or something that you just really enjoy about it now.
Should I go first?
Go
Sure.
for it.
Beautiful skies.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So true.
Beautiful
Sunsets here
skies.
are the best. I love them.
Yeah.
View here. I thought that Columbia was kind of boring at first because I came from a big
It's an
city.
adjustment.
Yeah, I came from Cairo. It's like a lot of people live there. It's too many. But there's a lot of things I got to do here I didn't get to back home, like hiking, for example, like in trails and the nature. I just back home, it's not the same, but here I got to kind of see more of the nature. Also, when we get to the fall or the winter, you get to experience every single part of it, like the cold, freezing weather, the nice flower, and the colors. So I like how I get to see all 4 seasons here. I didn't get to see that before in my life, so it's amazing.
So yeah, just like she just said, for all the kids coming from big cities like myself, I was definitely concerned about Columbia being a small city and not too much to do. And that turned out to be wrong. I was wrong. There's a lot of things to do in Columbia. Like there's a lot of trails, like the MKT trail that we have here locally in Columbia. Great scenery, and you can just go on walks, runs, walk your dog or whatever. And we have a lot of things to do here. We have football games, all kind of athletic events. We have movie theaters. We have so many things to do in Columbia. So I would definitely say it's a fun city. I would not call it. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a
Yeah.
small city.
I think coming to Columbia makes me feel proud of being a tiger because I go to Walmart restaurants, you will see a tiger or Mizzou here. So wherever I go, I feel I'm so proud of here.
That's great. Awesome. Well, we are winding down here with our time, so I wanted to ask you guys one final question to think about, and that is, if you had to describe Mizzou in just 5 words, what would those 5 words be?
I'll have to think.
You want to go first?
I have to think too.
Whatever comes to you, yeah.
Right here on the spot. 5 words. The first, I would say fun, exciting, adventurous, special, and historical.
Nice.
Okay.
That's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's Tiger, proud, business, because I study marketing, sorry. And internship.
I like
And also video.
video.
Because I study IT minor, so there's I need to make a video.
I see. Great.
And we're in the same class.
Yeah,
We're all
all
three
in
in the same class. That's
Oh,
really tomorrow.
Small world.
For me, I'll start with diverse. Memorial Union. I don't know why it just came up. Tigers, friends, food. There we go. I'd like tiger food.
I'll say green because the campus is great. Challenging. The courseworks are rigorous. Friendly, welcoming, warm. So yeah.
Those are some good words. We didn't have any duplicates, I don't think. So nice. Well, with that, we're going to wrap things up. But thank you all again for joining us this evening for us. We are so glad that you tuned in to hear a little bit more about what it's like to be a student at Mizzou. You are welcome to reach out to us anytime. You can connect with our international student ambassadors through our website. You can also email us at inter@mizzou.edu. And check your email because we'll also be having some additional events coming up soon. So thanks again. Have a good one.
Bye.